I recently did a video on how to build a working canal lock on a model railway layout. A link to that video is in the description. Having done a how-to for the canal and lock, I thought that I would do another video on the construction of the turntables at each end of the layout that turns the boat around. At either end of my model layout, the narrow boat enters a tunnel, and under a hill is the turntable mechanism that turns the narrow boat around so the boat goes back and forth, going up and down through the lock until it's switched off. Because the transport system sits under the perspex water, it is easiest to install the turntable above the perspex. A wide piece of perspex is needed at the end of the transport system to allow the boat to rotate through 180 degrees and to support the turntable mechanism. A double support is provided to hold the canal width perspex and the turntable perspex together and provide a smooth joint. A channel is suspended from a bridge-like structure. The channel is turned by a 2 RPM motor mounted on the bridge. The bridge is supported by a stand at each end that can be adjusted for height. The center of the bridge contains the motor mount, and the length of the bridge can be adjusted to allow for longer boats by adding different length sections at each end of the bridge. As the boat enters the channel, it triggers a magnetic detector which energizes a single pole double throw relay that interrupts the canal transit motors and starts the turntable motor. As the boat begins to turn, a cam disc under the turntable motor triggers a micro switch that keeps the relay energized and the motor turning until the channel has turned 180 degrees, at which point the motor stops, the relay is released so that the transit system restarts. Halfway round the turn, a second micro switch is triggered by the outer ring of the cam to change the direction relay of the canal system, so that when the transit system restarts, it does so in the opposite direction, moving the boat back towards the lock. All the files and instructions are available, details in the comments below, and a wider version of the channel is included for those who model wide barges. The 2 micro switches that run on the cam disc are mounted on the side of the motor mount in the middle of the bridge. This is the wiring diagram for the turntable, and the best way to do this is to do a screenshot or pause it and then take a print of it so that you can see it more easily. The channel consists of 2 identical parts bolted together. The top plate is screwed onto the top. The top plate has an M3 nut and grub screw in it to tighten onto the motor shaft. The cam disc fits on top of the top plate. The motor mount also carries the 2 micro switches, and it requires a 53mm arm part on the end to make this symmetrical about the center point. I've used 2 40mm end pieces because that's long enough for the boat that I'm using, but there are 50, 60 and 70mm parts that can be placed in there to allow for longer boats. The whole arm or bridge is held up by 2 supports, and the supports are adjustable for height in case you need a higher boat. So that is the turntable mechanism, which will also change the direction of travel so that the boat will go up and down through the lock. All of the files and information are available in the description below. Good modelling.